This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Training camp is finally here. We're 10 days in so far. Got a little bit of time out of the belt. Preseason coming up starting this week on Thursday against the Houston Texans. We're getting back to real football now pretty much every week. I know there's 1 week in between, but pretty much every week until the regular season starts, we got football of some sorts. So it's good to be back. It's good to have some real things to watch, some real things to break down, analyze, and talk about. And so it's good to be back. But I'm here with my co-host, Jace Campbell. How's it going, Jace?
Yeah, it's going good. I'm excited to see this preseason game coming up. You know, it's always good to have real football against another opponent, not just training camp. I know you were out there this weekend for a couple days and got to see some live reps and live practice and stuff. So we'll definitely get into that and touch on that a little bit. But it's exciting. Patriots football is right around the corner. Preseason's not going to be very fun just because, you know, you won't get very many snaps with the starters and stuff like that. But you'll get to see a good amount of, you know, these young dudes and hopefully some guys that are fighting for roster spots on the 53-man roster playing some heavy minutes. And I think there's some notable guys on that roster or that will be playing that could definitely earn a roster spot. So we'll get into that shortly, but I'm just excited to be back talking some Patriots football. This is the best time of the year for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to be back and right around the corner finally. So Jermaine asked, they have joint practices with the Texans. It's right, Titans, Panthers, you said, and Texans
For preseason?
For joint practices, or is it just Titans, Panthers?
I think it's just Titans, Panthers, because then the preseason
Packers?
game is
Packers.
Packers, yeah. Not Panthers, Packers.
Yeah.
So, and then I think the preseason games are the starts with the Texans on Thursday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So Packers and Titans, first sessions with Packers will be Wednesday, August 16th and Thursday the 17th, ahead of the preseason game at Lambeau Field on Saturday, August 19th. And then the Titans will be held Tuesday, August 29th and Wednesday, August 23rd prior to their final preseason game on the 25th. So
long-awaited return of D-Hop back to Foxborough.
Yes, it was so good. Yep.
Yeah. No, but
preseason.
It's good to be back, finally talking some real football. So, yeah, preseason will be interesting. Like Jace just said, usually starters play about one quarter for the first game, and then you don't really see them after that the rest of the game. And then I think the second game, it's a full half, and then the third game they usually have off, I believe.
Yeah.
Does that sound right to you from last year?
Yeah, usually, you know, and it all depends on, you know, what guys, you know, maybe you'll see some starters play a little bit more. I don't expect Mac Jones to take a ton of reps and stuff. I think they'll give Zappy a good amount of reps. Gesicki and Hunter Henry probably won't have that much reps too. They'll probably get a couple series in each game. Ramondre too, Matt Judon. The bigger name guys won't take that many reps, but you'll see. I would expect Jack Jones to take a good amount of reps just because of the situation he's dealing with. Marcus Jones could be in that boat just at corner. You know, he needs as many corner reps. Marte Mapu, Jabril Peppers, maybe not as much, but, you know, he could still take some just because he wasn't a starter last year. So, you know, he can use all those reps. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what guys get, you know, 2 or 3 quarters worth of work and what, you know, who they view as the starters and the guys that are really gonna kind of, you know, be penciled in as a day one guy. So,
yeah. No, I just want to touch on this real quick from Jermaine. The report that the Cowboys had to beat out the Patriots to re-sign Gilmore. I did see that. And was it Jeff Howe, I think? So, it was a reliable source.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. I wonder what the money would have been, but I'm not surprised that the Patriots were looking to add a veteran corner with losing JC the year before and having some ups and downs and not a lot of depth at the outside corner last year, especially with Mills maybe moving to safety. So losing a veteran like McCourty as well on the back end, gaining a guy like Gilmore who's been here and knows the system. I think that would have been cool to have him back. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank, obviously depending on the price. And like most Pats deals that break through it, that's what it comes down to, is them not wanting to pay up for some of these guys. But It is what it is. He's on the Cowboys now, so but that would have been cool to see that reunion.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at Gilmore, he adds size and length that we would have needed at that outside corner position. Obviously, adding Christian Gonzalez is a big help to that side or to that room right there, just lengthwise and size wise. But he would have added a little bit more depth. He would have solidified that because we still don't know what's going on with Jack Jones. If you bring in Stephon Gilmore, he brings in that, if Jack Jones doesn't play this year, knock on wood, hopefully he does. It's a little bit, more, it's a little bit less concerning because you have a guy that's a veteran that can come in and soften that blow. But, I think it's smart that they didn't, go and break the bank for Stephon Gilmore. I think he's a great corner. I don't think he's worth as much as what he once was worth, obviously. And, you bring him in to kind of bridge the gap for Jack Jones and stuff like that. If you can get him on a team-friendly contract, 100% you do it, especially with what he did in New England and accomplished here. But I'm excited to see Jack Jones, Marcus Jones continue to grow. And Christian Gonzalez sounds like he's been balling at the cornerback position this training camp, and we'll get into that some more. But it's good. We have some guys that are going to develop this year and play a ton of reps, and they could be, really good in a couple of years coming up here. So
yeah, no, for sure. And I definitely see why they had interest in him. But hopefully Jack Jones isn't suspended. Hopefully he can play and some of these young guys can step up and contribute. But what do you want to start off with? What do you want to touch on first?
Yeah, let's stay on the cornerbacks. We're talking about them. Let's talk about Christian Gonzalez, what you saw, maybe what we're hearing, how good he's been in camp, and then we'll kind of transition into the Jack Jones news and talk about some more of the corners that have been kind of not dominating, but been putting in, good reps in Isaiah Bolden, the rookie out of Jackson State and stuff. So let's start with Christian Gonzalez. So you were there in person. What'd you see one-on-ones? He's been reportedly running with a lot of the ones, getting a ton of his reps with the starting defense. So what'd you see out of Christian Gonzalez when you were at camp?
I mean, he definitely looks the part. He looks smooth, fluid. He moves well out there. And like you said, he's been working against a lot of the starters. A lot of the things you see is him on Devontae Parker. They've been going one-on-one quite a bit, matching up. And some might think that because of some of the tweets of Parker catches one over Christian Gonzalez. I've seen that a lot, but he's also all over it. Like, Parker's made some nice catches. Parker's a big physical receiver. It's good for a guy like Gonzalez to get these reps against a player who, when healthy, has potential to be a pretty good receiver. So it's not easy to go against that physicality and that size, the combination there, especially for some of these jump balls in the red zone and down the field. But he's pretty sticky in coverage. He looks, like I said, smooth. And has he allowed some catches? Yes, absolutely. But he's also more physical than I expected. He made some pretty solid hits when we were out there watching some of the drills and some of the tackling drills and the live reps, the 11s, and so I think he looks good. I'm excited to see him in some of these joint practices, and I think he might have more success against guys that aren't as good at the jump ball catches as Parker is. Maybe guys who are not necessarily smaller and faster, but I think he can cover a wide range of different types of receivers. But I definitely like what I saw from him so far early on in camp. He's looked good, and he's going against some solid competition as far as like your first challenges coming into an NFL training camp. Devontae Parker is a solid receiver when healthy, and certainly has the potential to be a tough one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, I like the matchup there between them, all camp going on, because I think that Christian Gonzalez is going to be the guy on this Patriots team that's probably going to guard more of the bigger bodied receivers. Yeah. You saw what happened when, guys like Marcus Jones or Jonathan Jones were guarding T. Higgins last year. It's as good as they are and as close as in coverage as they were. It's unfair to, have to go up and get a jump ball on a 6'3" wide receiver. And so to add that length on Christian Gonzalez and now have him guarding the T. Higgins, the Mike Evans, guys like that are a little bit taller, it makes me more comfortable. Now, he's going up against a guy that was an elite contested catch guy when he played all 16 games for Miami, when he had 1,200 yards. He was catching a ton of his touchdowns and stuff as a contested catch guy. You can throw it up to him. He'll go up and get the ball. Now, that's what we were seeing last camp by him, and we're seeing it again this camp, and he was very hit or miss last year in the season, so hopefully Devontae Parker returns to that. But going up against Devontae Parker for Christian Gonzalez is only going to make him better. And in college, Christian Gonzalez wasn't known as a ball hawk. Like, he wasn't Emmanuel Forbes. He wasn't guys like that had 5 or 6 interceptions a year. He's a good cornerback that can, stay sticky in coverage, can play the ball, get PBUs. He's not going to create a ton of turnovers. Now, we're hoping that he does create a ton of turnovers. Bill gets that ball skills in him, and he's able to convert some of these PBUs that he's getting his hands on to interceptions and, turning it into a 5-6 interception a year guy. But that's not what he was in college. So to expect him to come out in training camp and be that right away is, kind of unfair. So I like what I'm seeing from him. I like what I'm hearing from him. He's, you see the athleticism from him. Like in OTAs, the first video you saw of him, he's making, a crazy one-handed catch, jumping crazy high and stuff. But like you said, I'd like to see him in person, but I know everyone that's seen him says he looks like an NFL corner. He's long. He's, like built and thick and tone. And he's fluid in his hips. That's why I was so attracted to him in the NFL draft process, is because I thought he was so fluid with his feet and with his hips. And, you can do a lot with a corner that can stay in coverage with guys that, and, can cover those big, tall receivers and the ones that can run great routes. So I'm very, excited to see what he does against, someone that's not on the Patriots roster. Houston probably won't deal with many number one wide receivers that he'll have to really be worried about. Green Bay, Christian Watson will be a pretty good test for him, and then we'll see if they match him up against DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee or Treylon Burks. But he'll get a couple preseason matchups that could, bring some headlines, and hopefully he can hold his own and, continue what he's been doing in training camp.
Yeah, absolutely. Carlos, what's up? Yes, I was able to go to a couple practices last week, Wednesday, Thursday, and then headed back home Friday. But Friday there was an in-stadium practice. I think it was season ticket holders only, so we didn't see that one. But yes, I was down there for a couple, and it was a blast. I definitely recommend it for anybody who's within a few hours driving distance. If you have time to go down at some point, it's definitely fun. And Edelman was there one of the days and was signing stuff.
That's cool.
So that was.
Did you get his autograph?
No.
Dang.
No. So we were by like the grass hill. So not by the bleachers. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah, I've seen pictures.
How it's set up. Yeah. But by the time he got all the way down the bleachers and over towards the grass area, on the fence, he was signing 2 autographs for little kids only. And it was packed over there. Everybody wanted one. And
oh yeah.
So
sure.
we didn't get one, but he signed for some kids, and it was nice of him to sign as many as he did, because he certainly didn't have to. He signed a lot for people, but it was still cool to see him there. And it was definitely nice to have Jules back in town and back in Foxborough. He was talking to Bill for a while, and talking to Mac at one point. So it was good to have him back. But yeah, MA football guy, it's certainly a blast down there. It's cool to see.
Yeah. Let's continue on the cornerback situation right here. Probably the best corner in the room right now, Jonathan Jones, balling out. Time to put some respect on his name. Everyone's like, hey, JC Jackson's leaving. Who's it going to be? There's always this guy that's, emerges from the depths or no one thinks of, right, in New England. Well, it's Jonathan Jones, and he's here. And as good as Christian Gonzalez has been, Jonathan Jones has been every bit as advertised and better. And he's going to be the true cornerback one this year. He just doesn't have that elite size and length, but that doesn't mean he can't be a great corner. And I've heard, him and Cam guarding Kendrick Bourne, guarding Devontae Parker, guarding Tyquan Thornton, and getting multiple PBUs a day and stuff. So Jonathan Jones, true cornerback number 1 for this team. It's great when you have him as number 1, and then you have a rookie like Christian Gonzalez, who probably has a higher ceiling than Jonathan Jones does, but he's still balling out. And then, like MA football guy says right here, Marcus Jones, another one that's been balling out. So what were kind of your impressions on the 2 Joneses, Jonathan and Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan especially, he's such a versatile player. The different, not many people can guard the wide range of players that he can. Like we mentioned, he struggled a little bit with some of the big receivers last year, but his combination of speed and athleticism and just physicality at the position and ability to cover all sorts of different guys is impressive. You don't see guys go from the best slot corner in the game, arguably, to a top outside corner who can cover a lot of different guys as well. And John Jones has stepped up to the task, and his speed helps him with that certainly, and his coverage ability is great. So definitely was impressed with Jonathan Jones. I think he'll build on what he did last year, and hopefully this defense as a whole, adding some of those different playmakers, hopefully he can have an even better season, and they can pick some certain matchups that are better for him and better for Christian Gonzalez and better for Marcus Jones or Jack Jones or whoever takes that third spot. But I think it's going to be good for this team to be able to have him play outside, inside, wherever you need him, depending on what's available on the roster as far as if anybody's suspended or healthy or whatever. So Jonathan Jones was great. Marcus Jones also looked good, and it was good to see him returning punts and stuff again, because that's really where I think he's at his best, is out there with the ball in his hands. He's fun to watch. So that was good to see him back there again.
Yeah, I'm excited for Marcus Jones year 2. We saw him score an offensive touchdown, a defensive touchdown, and a special teams touchdown. Is he just going to be a corner this year? We know he's going to return punts and kickoffs. Is there going to be any use of him on the offensive side of the ball? Now, we'll get to the receivers here in a minute, and there seem to be some rookie receivers standing up and a lot more 2 tight end usage. Plus, we have, Ramondre Stevenson, and who knows if we bring in Ezekiel Elliott. We'll talk about that once we get to the offensive side, but he's just a dynamic playmaker, and we all know Bill Belichick loves those guys. I mean, you look at Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Marte Mapu. You look at guys that can do multiple things at a high level. He loves those type of players, and Marcus Jones does multiple things at an elite level. I mean, he's already one of the best punt returners in the NFL, in my opinion. He is going to be a great slot corner. He's kind of like Jonathan Jones. He doesn't possess that elite size, but he has great speed. He can, be sticky in coverage. He can kind of be a pest. I mean, to me, he's the slot corner of this team. It's not Miles Bryant. I mean, I don't hope anyone gets cut, but I think that he's kind of the odd man out. You look at it, you're like, how does he make this roster? I don't see he does, because you have Amir Speed, who could make it due to special teams, and Isaiah Bolden, who's also been doing good things at the cornerback position. And he also brings a little bit more size than guys like Miles Bryant and Marcus Jones. But I've been intrigued what I've seen from the whole cornerback room. I think that might be the strength of this defense. Obviously, the safety room will be very strong, and we still have Uche and Matt Judon, and then Keon White, who has been another good addition. But this cornerback room got to be the most exciting position going into the season this year.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing, like just the way they can use some of these guys, like we mentioned, with versatility. But yeah, I like Marcus Jones a lot. I don't think he'll have an offensive role this year, which we'll touch on why that is and who might take those snaps. But definitely one of the most exciting positions, along with safety. They have a lot of different mismatch tools that they can use, and we'll see how they pair that back end together with them McCourty gone.
Yeah, for sure. So let's continue on the defensive side of the ball. Let's go to the safeties, kind of staying at the secondary position. Marte Mapu took reps at linebacker safety. He was still in that red non-contact jersey pretty much throughout the whole week while you were there, and he has been the whole time and stuff. He's been another guy that stood out, though. He's taken a lot of first-team reps. This is a third-round pick that a lot of people, when he got taken, were like, oh, that's a reach. He could have been there in the third or the fourth. Well, it doesn't matter where he thought he was going to be taken. The dude's been balling out since OTAs. He's been running with the first-team starters, and he's one of those versatile guys, kind of like Kyle Duggar, but he's probably going to play more of a linebacker role than Kyle Duggar is. But you put him at linebacker, that doesn't mean he can't drop. He can't play man coverage off of safeties or off of corners. Off of tight ends, and be really good at it. He's going to add a lot of versatility. He's been blitzing off the edge. He's been getting sacks. He's been doing run stops. He's the type of guy that Bill Belichick likes to have in this defense, and he's already making an impact with the starters. So what were your thoughts on him, even though he was in that red non-contact jersey?
Like Gerard Mayo said, I can't wait until he's out of the non-contact. Mayo said we can't really fully evaluate him until he's out of that. But just based off his athleticism and kind of what the linebacker position looks like nowadays, I hope they keep him there. Like him next to Juwan Bentley is quite the difference in players.
Yep.
But I think it gives you two different things. That Bentley is that run stuff and physical linebacker who can plug a gap, blow up a guard. Excuse me. And Mapu is a guy who can fly around sideline to sideline, play in coverage, like you said, against tight ends or running backs, whatever he needs to. I'm excited. I think this is a Mac Wilson, but more potential that the Patriots have here. This guy is a great athlete, and I think if they can utilize him correctly and keep him at that linebacker position, but also, like you said, the safety versatility he has a little bit, you can mix him up a little bit like they did with Duggar, like they do with Duggar. So maybe Duggar plays more of a back end role, or I think you can interchange these two a little bit. And I think that's going to be exciting. It's just going to make this defense more versatile. So Mapu, I like what I've seen from him so far. I can't wait for him to get out of the non-contact and hopefully get to see him in some live action and see how his physicality holds up, because we know he's got the speed and athleticism. So I think that'll be kind of the test there, is how he plays in the run game and how he can do against some of these other guys.
Yeah, and I think that he hits just as hard as Jerome Bentley. Some of the film of him at Sacramento State, he flies around, and you don't think he's going to deliver a blow, but he is a freaking like heat-seeking missile. He flies around, he smacks dudes, he makes some crazy hits, and you're just like, a guy his size should not be doing that. So he's been an exciting prospect, and it'll be interesting to see if they limit him in preseason game 1 coming up on Thursday. He's kind of the one guy, or one of the guys on the defensive side I'll be keeping an eye on, is, how much does he go? What's his role? What are they using him as? So he'll be definitely an interesting guy to watch on the defensive side come Thursday against the Texans. And, how are they, using him to disguise blitzes, disguise coverages, putting him in the box, putting him outside on receivers, putting him deep in the post. There's going to be a lot of creativity that you can see. And if you guys watch the quarterback documentary, you saw when Kirk Cousins was talking about, how the Patriots game plan switches from week to week. Well, it's because we draft guys and Bill Belichick finds guys like Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Marte Mapu. You don't know what they're going to do, and they could do something totally different from week to week, and they can do it at a high level and, can do a ton of different things at a good level. So what, anything else to add on the safety position? You were there. I mean, I know Jabril Peppers has kind of emerged as a leader on the defense, they said. And, maybe you have more perspective on this. When Jack Jones got thrown out, Jabril Peppers was kind of the one talking to him, leading him off the field, more of that leadership role.
Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills tried to talk to him as well. But that was odd. I didn't see what happened live. I saw the altercation already happening. Like, I saw there was a scrum going on. I didn't know who it was. And then you saw Jack Jones and Kendrick Bourne come out of it. And it was kind of weird. He wasn't really participating the rest of practice. Looked like he started to leave or left. And then Jalen Mills tried to talk to him. And then Jabril Peppers went over and put his arm around him, tried to talk to him. And then he talked to a coach. So, but yeah, just as far as the safety position goes, Kyle Duggar's still been making plays. Like, he's picked off Mac a few times. He had one pick on Bailey Zappi on Thursday, I believe, that he just kind of read like a book, and Zappi just kind of threw it to him right in the end zone. Didn't see him. Other than that, nobody else really stood out crazy. I'm excited to see what Peppers can do in this defense. Hopefully, like you said, another year off that injury that he had, that only helps him. So I think he's another guy that's versatile that they can use, and I think he should have a good year this year. I'm excited to see what he's got.
Yeah, let's get to the other position group on the defense that has had some headlines in the recent days. Obviously, Matt Judon signs or gets paid. He goes from $2 million guaranteed to $14 million guaranteed. A well-deserved pay raise, and today was really the first day he took meaningful reps in practice and stuff. So, what are your thoughts on that? He didn't get any extension in years, right? It was just a pay raise. That's all it was. Yeah.
Just guaranteed money pay raise.
Yeah. Which he's totally deserving. I mean, you look at, who's been the most productive defensive player in the last since we signed him, it's been Matthew Judon. So he's totally deserving of that. And, I have no problem paying him like that. And the last thing you want is to, not pay him and he holds out for the year or something like that. Cause he said a ton of great things about Bill Belichick and this Patriots team. Like, he wants to retire here. He wants to be a Patriot for life. He loves Bill Belichick. So that's good to see, to reward him, because he has been one of the few great free agent signings Bill Belichick's had in the last couple of years.
I wish they would have tied something to his contract about his recruiting, because he's doing an awful job so far. He's like 0 for 1,000 on recruiting these players between D-Hop and OBJ and all these other guys. So
he didn't get a pay raise for being a recruiter or agent or whatever. Yeah, that's for damn sure.
It was not for his GM capabilities, because he is not doing it. No, but in all seriousness, Judon is great. He definitely deserved it. He's been a key part of this defense, and I hope he can last till the end of the season and hopefully into the playoffs, because we've seen that drop off quite a bit late in the year. And that's really the only thing I'm concerned about. Other than that, the first part of the season, first half, he's always in the top 2 to 3 for sack leaders until like week 12, and then it starts to tail off. So
Yeah.
hopefully that can continue and sail all the way through the end of the season and further, hopefully. But yeah, we all know what Judon means to this defense. He's a great leader. He's a tremendous player, and he provides so much value and advice to some of these younger guys like Uche and Keon White and all these guys. So Barmore. So I'm super happy that he's back to practicing. It was frustrating seeing him running off to the conditioning fields every day and not actually get to see him live in person. But I'm glad he's back, and he had a good day today, it looked like. So Judon was back to doing his things. No rust for him.
Yeah, and I think Judon being as good as he has helped Josh Uche emerge, and he's another guy. Him and Barmore, I've been hearing great things about. We've talked about the twitch in both of them, how quick they are off the ball. You know, they really do have elite twitch, getting to the quarterback. And I don't think Barmore he hasn't taken that jump yet like we saw Uche take last year, but this could easily be the year that he does that. He's probably the clear-cut best defensive tackle on this roster. Maybe Gottschall, you could argue, just because, you know, he's a little more experienced and a little bit stouter in the run game. But I'm so excited. If Christian Barmore stays healthy, unlike last year, I think that he has a huge breakout year, kind of like we saw in Josh Uche. And I think that he's going to be very fun to watch on this defensive line.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's certainly a good opportunity for him. Like, it's just, that's kind of what it's been, is his availability. The past couple of years, he's had some things that have nagged him a little bit, and it hasn't really gotten him that full year of development and dominance. But if he could stay healthy this year and keep his head on track, I think he's poised to have a good bounce back year, because he's got all the talent in the world. Even if he doesn't show it in the numbers sometimes, he's always drawing double teams. His rookie year, Judon talked about that all the time, how Barmore eating up double teams, that just opens things up for somebody else. Or Judon getting double teamed opens things up for Barmore or Uche or any of these guys. So I'm definitely excited. He's one of those younger guys that piques my interest quite a bit. Just him, Duggar. We'll see if Uche can have a year similar to last year. We'll see what his impact ends up being, and if he can be more physical in the run game and be more of a well-rounded 3-down player, that would be awesome for this team.
Yeah, for sure. William says Gonzo, Christian Gonzalez, defensive rookie of the year. That would be awesome. There's a lot of good defensive rookies. You know, Will Anderson's going to be hard to beat out. Devon Witherspoon's going to be a guy that is going to probably start day 1 too, and he'll be opposite of Tyreek Woolen, so maybe he gets a little bit more targets per se and opportunities to, you know, have interceptions. Emmanuel Forbes has been doing great things. Jalen Carter. So there it's a lot of guys, but there's been that hype around Christian Gonzalez. Like, it legitimately shouldn't surprise any Patriots fans if he wins defensive rookie of the year. That's how good he's been so far. And he could, you know, kind of be, someone said it, I think it was a rival executive, you know, there's always those anonymous tweets on Twitter, like rival NFC, AFC scout, whatever, said Christian Gonzalez could be this year's Sauce Gardner. Right. And I think that's very accurate. If he reaches, if he reaches
he's anywhere
close
to that, then
yeah,
we are very lucky, because Sauce Gardner is elite already. He's one of the best corners in the game. So if Gonzalez is anywhere near Sauce's year last year, we hit the jackpot at 17. So
yes, we did. And we traded down and got an extra pick for him. So anything else on the defensive side of the ball before we move to offense and run a quick ad break?
Defense, I don't think anything else really stood out to me. Defensive line had their way with the offensive line a decent amount, but we'll get into why that was. And but nobody really stood out bad in any way. It was just I think there were some things to be excited about, and yeah, that's about all I got for that.
Perfect. Well, let's take a quick ad break. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring us and this show. So make sure you guys pay attention. They're doing a huge fantasy football giveaway this year. So if you guys are into that, make sure you pay attention to this ad and use our code at checkout. And after this ad, we'll get back into the offensive standouts. We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog's Best Ball Mania 4 is the biggest fantasy football contest ever, with $15 million in total prizes. The winner will receive $3 million. There is no season-long management with no trades or waivers, and it is only a $25 entry fee. All you have to do is download the Underdog Fantasy app or go to underdogfantasy.com to draft your team. And if you use code PATSDRIVE, you can get your first deposit matched up to $100. Yeah, thanks to Underdog Fantasy for doing that. That's a huge pot right there, guys. So if you guys are into that, go in. It's enter Pat's Drive at Underdog Fantasy or use the link in our bio. Thanks to them. It's really fun. I did it last year and I didn't make the playoffs, so I didn't win any money and stuff. But I know Cole's won a couple bucks on parlays and stuff on the Patriots, over unders. You can do all that stuff. So make sure you guys use our code to help support the channel, help support us. And everything. So, but let's move on to the offensive side of things. Cole, you kind of hit on it. Let's start on the offensive line because, in my opinion, I think that's the biggest concern for me. The offensive line could be the biggest downfall of this offense. And if they're not giving Mac Jones time, if they're not giving Ramondre Stevenson lanes to run in, it really does scare me. So you kind of hinted at it before we went to an ad break. Offensive line looked a little shaky at times. Why was that?
Yeah, I mean, Trent Brown was on the conditioning fields for basically the whole week. Mike Onwenu is injured. I think he's on the PUP list right now. And then Cole Strange got banged up, I think on like the second practice of the week and missed a few days. But 4 out of the 5 starters were back today, and I guess it looked a lot better. I wasn't there for that in person, but it sounds like it looked a lot better. That, like you said, is going to be the key to the season. If they can protect well and establish the run and give Mac Jones time, I think he's going to have success in this Bill O'Brien system. But health is an issue as well. It's not great news that 60% of your offensive line was injured and not playing. That's a real problem, and the depth is not great. You got a bunch of old guys who are injury prone, as some of the offseason signings that we were not very excited about. So you better hope that these guys stay healthy because it could get ugly real quick, and it could certainly spin this season down the drain in a hurry. So I don't know. I think the line is definitely going to be the key to this season, and we'll see how these guys end up doing.
Yeah, it's to me, and let's see. MA Football Guy says, I do think Antonio Mafi could prove to be a good pickup. I think that he's been one of the most intriguing prospects while Cole Strange and Michael Onwenu have kind of struggled and battled with injuries. He is a people mover, and I think that Bill O'Brien is going to really like that. It's going to be easy to run behind him. He can double team, and he's athletic to climb to the second level. I really do like Antonio Mafi. He was probably my favorite offensive line pick that we had. But I'm also interested to see what the offensive line configuration is come Thursday for preseason game 1. Who is it with injuries? Where are they putting guys? Are they moving dudes out of position? Are they trying a bunch of different combinations? And last year, it sucked that Trent Brown was out for a bunch of games, and then he had, kind of a rotating offensive line, and David Andrews got hurt, and then Cole Strange struggled. You had way too many configurations. Mac or Zappy, whoever was in the backfield for whatever game, or at the quarterback position for whatever game, they couldn't get comfortable. And whenever you're shuffling around offensive linemen, I don't care if it's the same 5 guys. If you're moving them around position to position every week, it's hard to mesh and gel. You got to have that consistency. You got to have that trust from center to quarterback to offensive lineman. You got to have that. And that's my biggest concern right here. I also heard today, Carlos, that it wasn't very good, that he was struggling to get a clean pocket. I didn't see who it was, though. I didn't see if it was still the backups or if it was the starters. I just know at times he was struggling to get a clean pocket again. And, last year we saw Mac Jones continue to get hit just over and over and never really had time to push the ball down the field. And yeah, it would have been nice to have DeAndre Hopkins. It would have been nice to, develop Tyquan Thornton into a downfield threat, which I still think we can. But if you have no time to push the ball down the field, it doesn't matter who you got down there. If you can't give a clean pocket to Mac Jones and at least 3 seconds to throw the football, it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's you hit the nail on the head there. There's not really anything Mac is going to be able to do. And you really got to set up your quarterback for success. We're all these years in, we've been talking about getting weapons. We've been talking about protecting him. This could be his worst O-line he's had since he's been here, possibly, depending on how Adrian Clem can build this thing and how Cole Strange progresses in year 2 and how some of these older veterans play. It looks like the offensive line, I guess, had some better moments, but Judon definitely did still dominate. And it does look like that some of the QBs there were struggling to get a clean pocket, but Judon, I guess, had a good day and had a few sacks or a few would-be sacks by himself and didn't have any rust. So um, we'll see. I don't know. The O-line can't be worse than last year. Yeah, that we hope. We hope. It's I mean, it's a lot of the same guys though, right? It's just Cole Strange, you're hoping in year 2 he's better. David Andrews, you're hoping is staying kind of where he is. I know he had a little bit of a down year last year, but that was just kind of the offense in general. I think the predictability of the offense made the offensive line even worse last year. And,
well, and the thing is I feel comfortable about our guard position if they stay healthy. I have high hopes for Cole Strange. If David Andrews stays healthy, he's David Andrews.
Interior is good if healthy.
It's the tackles. It's, Trent Brown. We don't know what we're going to get out of him. We didn't sign or draft a premium right or left tackle. So now you have Calvin Anderson, Riley Reif, who's like 35 years old. They're trying to move Sidney Sow out to tackle. Our best right tackle the last 3 years is playing right guard for us right now, which he's a damn good right guard too, but he was an all rookie right tackle for us. And now he's playing right guard. And I have no problem with that, but our biggest concern is on the outside for Mac Jones. So that's what concerns me right there. Interior seems pretty good, but all the best pass rushers in the NFL outside of Aaron Donald and Chris Jones are Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, TJ Watt. Put Matt Judon in there. They're coming off the edge. They're coming off the tackle positions. And that's really scary, leaving guys on an island, one-on-one, Riley Reif with Nick Bosa. And I'm sure Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick will scheme things to chip these guys, but then it takes away from your tight ends getting out immediately on routes or your running backs, or, you have to slide always to one side. Defenses can scheme and bring pressure from the other way. So it's a little bit of a concerning factor for me, the tackle position. And only time will tell, because I don't think we're going to add anyone else. You're just going to have to hope for a steady, guy to show up or step up and be that right tackle, and Trent Brown to return to what we know Trent Brown can be. But it's very concerning, the right tackle position.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Bill didn't emphasize the offensive line more this offseason, especially as a defensive guy, knowing how quickly a bad offensive line can make the defense's day. Like, it can change a game. If you have a struggling offensive line and your D line and can take advantage of that, you can ruin the game just with that right there. So I am surprised that Belichick didn't address the position more. Yeah. He seems like a guy, the type of head coach he is, that would want to start in the trenches. And if you're not going to have a good O-line and you're not going to have great weapons, you're really not doing a whole lot for your third-year quarterback, who's now on to his third offensive coordinator. So I don't know. I'm not loving what we're doing here for Mac Jones. I don't think you're really setting him up to have success, but hopefully he can overcome it, and we'll see what the kid is made of in year 3.
Yeah, and let's move to a different position. Speaking of success, you said it first. The tight ends have been very, very impressive. Mike Gesicki has been great. They've been scheming a lot of tight end sets. We knew that Bill O'Brien was the 2 tight end, guru guy that brought it to New England in the first place. Who was it, Gesicki or was it Hunter Henry that said, Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez, what they did with them are like they are gods, right? Like, they watch film on them. Like, yeah, that's
hopefully
good.
They're watching football film,
not off the field film, right? Not the documentary.
Not taking any notes on anything else that those guys do. I don't want to get anything mixed up. But yes, I was Hunter Henry.
Well, the new Netflix documentary coming out on Swamp Kings is going to have some Aaron Hernandez in it, because that was about when he was there, and Tim Tebow and Mike and Marquise Pouncey and stuff. But anyways, yeah, Bill O'Brien's bringing that back, and we have 2 great tight ends that can execute that, and they're both great in different aspects. You got your bigger, more physical tight end in Hunter Henry, and he's supposedly been great in red zone drills. And then you got Mike Gesicki, who's just a mismatch nightmare, big, tall, long, fast, that can kind of play in that slot or in that spread out position, and he's too fast for receiver or for linebackers, and he's too big for safety. So how our team's going to scheme that, I'm really excited to see that part of the offense, and you got to see it live. So did you notice any of the 2 tight end sets, kind of being utilized, and how good was it?
Yeah, I noticed them more in one-on-ones, was where I was really impressed when they were drilling versus safeties. Both Gesicki and Hunter Henry looked really good. They won all 3 of their reps against the safeties each. And Mac threw a dime to Hunter Henry down, by the sideline, where only he could catch it. And I can't remember which safety was covering him, but he was tight in coverage. I think it might have been Jalen Mills was tight in coverage, but it was just a perfect throw. And Hunter Henry made the nice catch on the sideline and got both feet in, and it was great. It was awesome. And then Mike Gesicki is just he's he's a lot more shifty than a guy like Hunter Henry, and you can definitely tell the guy is a mix between a tight end and a receiver. He moves well. He's big. He's fast. He's athletic. So he did well. He did good as well. He certainly looked the part. Looked what we've been struggling with against Miami sometimes for all these years, trying to get him covered and figure out how to guard him. But I'm excited to see what these two can bring to this offense in the two tight end set, and then see how these other wide receivers can complement them.
Yeah, and the biggest thing we need is we need red zone production out of the tight ends. Yeah. Hunter Henry was great year one in the red zone, and he disappeared. The whole offense disappeared in the red zone. I'm not going to put it on
hard.
Hunter Henry.
Yeah, it's so hard to put any stock into last year's offense. It really is.
It is, but that's where he's been making a ton of his catches and stuff, back of the end zone throws. And we saw it in the Minnesota game. He had a great red zone touchdown, and that was really kind of the only one that he had and stuff. But year one with New England, he was great. Year two, it was the whole offense was disappointing in the red zone. But we'll see how that goes. I think Mike Gesicki helps with that too. Having a good productive season from Devontae Parker gives you another jump ball threat in the red zone. So there's a lot of things that can help with that. So MA Football Guy Netflix documentary. Sorry, it's called Swamp Kings. It's on the Florida Gators with Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez, because that really was an interesting team. You got, Tebow and Aaron Hernandez, who are two polar opposites and, off the field issues and stuff. And then you got Urban Meyer coaching them and stuff like that. So that will be an interesting documentary. I just threw that out there just because it will be interesting to, see some of that stuff. But tight ends looking good. The one thing, that scares me, both of them are free agents after this year. Yeah. So they go out and both of them ball out. You probably, I don't see Bill Belichick re-signing both of them. He did sign Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith the same year, which we didn't think would happen. So it could happen, but it's just to me, I don't want to lose both of these guys the same year, because I think they could be a huge addition to this offense and a reason that Mac Jones takes that 30-year leap.
And it might depend if Bill O'Brien's back as well, and what kind of offensive system they keep with that. So, oh boy,
Matt Skull, huh? Where's Gabe Pats? We need Ryan Izzo back, right? Like that would just make the tight end room that much better.
What is he in the XFL now? What is he?
I don't even know. I know he got cut from where was he? Tennessee, or is that where he was last?
That was last year, I think. But yeah, I don't know where he is anymore. I thought Gabe posted something about him being in the XFL and he scored a touchdown or something. I don't know. He was playing against some high school kids, probably.
Gabe fanboying over there.
Yeah.
So, but again, let's move on. Pass catchers have been kind of a big thing for the Patriots, and we wanted them to add DeAndre Hopkins, but Devontae Parker's had a strong camp. There's been huge chemistry jumps between Mac Jones and Juju, which is good to see. Kendrick Bourne is going to have a bigger role than what he did last year, because now Matt Patricia or Joe Judge aren't in there to throw him in the doghouse for no reason. And then we'll talk about this, but Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, and I know people, do these say Boutte or Boutte? Kayshon Boutte, they have both been impressive, and I could see both of them making this roster. And I think Demario Douglas is almost a lock to make the roster, but Boutte's making a huge push. And depending on what he does in the preseason games, he could be the 6th wide receiver kept on this roster.
I hope they find a way to keep both of them. I don't know. Oh boy, Boston Headline's back.
You might know us, Boston Headline.
But yeah, no, I hope they find a way to keep both of them, because they're both good players. Demario Douglas has looked really good, especially in one-on-ones. That dude looks like impossible to cover one-on-one during these drills with the corners. He has been a menace, and he also stayed late after practice, probably returned punts or practice just catching punts for 15, 20 minutes after practice ended. So the kid looks like he's putting in the work. He's from the same hometown, I think, as Mac Jones. It seems like he has a little chemistry with him there. I like Douglas a lot. I think he's an exciting prospect. I think he's going to be the guy who replaces the Marcus Jones aspect of this offense. I think he can take over that spot so that you can focus more on the special teams and defense with Marcus Jones and keep him there. But also Booty, like you said, is making some really impressive catches, having some nice routes. He's looking a lot better. He started off slow, but he's certainly starting to pick it up a little bit. So I hope they find a way to keep him because I think as we know, he was a guy who was a first round projected pick, ends up having a tough year, falling to the 5th or 6th round to us. I hope we can find a way to keep him. I really do, because both these guys are intriguing and I think have potential. And hopefully build some rapport with Mac and see what these guys got and let them develop for a year.
Yeah, Patriots Wire just put out a new 53-man roster prediction 2 days ago, and they have New England keeping 6 wide receivers, and that would be the first time in a while, in my opinion. But that's Devontae Parker, Juju, Kendrick Bourne, Tyquan Thornton, Demario Douglas, and Kayshon Boutte. And I think if you cut either one of Douglas or Boutte and they hit waivers, you're not getting either of them back. I think they'll get picked up. I think that there's been problems through OTAs and maybe the early portions of camp with Boutte, maybe with Bill O'Brien and stuff. And that was kind of his downfall at LSU this last year. But he has all the talent in the world. A 5-star prospect. He was once a first-round projected pick. I mean, I'm working on a film review right now. I know I've said that. I have his clips. I want to do one on Demario Douglas, but I don't have that much access to Liberty Film, so I'd kind of have to be creative with that. But I have, a ton of film on LSU the last 3 years, so I could do a film review on him. But for me, it's so exciting to see, because someone said that they could see Kayshon Boutte being maybe this year Stephon Diggs, and they're not saying that he's going to be, but a late-round receiver that has the talent that could develop into something really good. Because Diggs, his first couple of years in Minnesota, he was, an average dude, and then he burst onto the scene and then got traded to Buffalo, and now he's been great. If you can get half of Stephon Diggs out of Kayshon Boutte, this receiver room's looking good. And then on the Demario Douglas front, he's the type of guy that you're going to be able to throw bullet screens out to, and he's going to do what Marcus Jones did against the Bills on Thursday Night Football and take it to the house and be very dynamic with the play in his hands. He was top 20 in the country in yards after the catch last year, which we all know no one on the Patriots got yards after the catch last season. That was a huge struggle for the Patriots receivers. So getting playmakers in this offense, letting them help Mac Jones out when they have the ball in their hands is going to be huge. And Demario Douglas has looked good, and it excites the heck out of me.
Yeah, the only guy, which I hate this, but the only guy who hasn't popped is Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah.
I mean, he had an injury. He wasn't on the field for a while. But not like during OTAs and whatever. Now he's back during training camp, and he has been a ghost. I don't think I saw him catch anything when I was there. Maybe one ball in competitive drills. I haven't seen him. It's like he's not even there. I don't know what's going on there, but you'd hate to give up this quick on a 2nd-round pick that you just made last year. You really wish you grabbed George Pickens instead, like the Steelers, but we all knew that was going to be the case. I'm pretty sure we said that right after we picked Tyquan.
Well, we said whoever the Steelers takes going to be, a stud.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what
and both of us really wanted Christian Watson. Now he went way earlier than New England took Tyquan Thornton, but we were like, trade up for this dude. Like, he's a stud. There were some dudes, but I agree with you. I would not want to give up on Tyquan Thornton right now. You can't teach 4.24 speed. You can't teach that. And as bad as he's looked and as disappointing as he's been so far this training camp, there's got to be a way Bill O'Brien can creatively scheme that speed into the offense and take 2 to 3 shots a game. And all you have to do is connect on one every couple weeks, and it's going to be in the back of teams' minds. And if it's not, then you're going to hit on it more often, because if you leave him in single coverage, he's going to run right by most corners. He has that type of speed. So I wish he has a little bit of a role and he starts showing that, because he has that elite speed to be a crazy good deep threat. And Mac Jones threw an incredibly good deep ball at Alabama, and he hasn't had the time or the skills set around him yet to do it at New England. But you did say when you were there, he threw an incredible deep ball to, who was it? I remember you texted me. Maybe we need to pull this up. You said,
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, maybe you just said he made. Oh, okay. You said Mac made some really nice throws. It wasn't a deep ball, but remember I thought I remembered seeing some,
Yeah, he definitely made some nice throws. I saw a couple tweets about
deep balls and
some deep balls. Yeah. On I think it was Wednesday when he hit a couple when he was kind of cooking. He hit a couple. I can't remember who it was to, but I don't know. If Taekwon is a guy who has a deep catch every couple weeks, that's a disappointing draft pick in my opinion. A second round pick, you're taking this guy. This is who you picked. That's a premium pick. A second round pick is not just a flyer. Like that's not really what that is. You're expecting this guy to produce in the first few years. Like I get it if he needs a year to develop. I know he was hurt for half the season to start last year, so it's fine to give him time. But if that's all this guy is, it's a waste of a draft pick. He can't just be somebody who catches a 40-yard pass once every 2 weeks and that is disappearing the rest of the game. Like that's just, I don't know. That would be disappointing in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. But the receiver room has been surprisingly, and I think the offense as a whole has been a little bit disappointing than what fans want to see. But fans got to understand they're going up every day against arguably a top 3 defense in the NFL. And Mac Jones said it's the best defense. It's only going to make them better going up against the Patriots defense. And you expect them to struggle. They're going through training camp. They're trying new things. They're with a new offensive coordinator and Bill O'Brien. They're shuffling around an offensive line. They have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's new. They have Mike Gesicki, who's new. There's going to be bumps and bumps and bruises and stuff going through this training camp process. They're playing a very good defense day in and day out. It's only going to make them better. But I think hearing the connections with Juju Smith that Mac Jones has had and hearing the Devontae Parker news and how good the tight ends have been, it's encouraging that the Patriots can, I don't think they can be any worse than what they were last year offensively, but it gives me hope that they can have a, semi-decent passing game in the NFL and Mac Jones can have a year like he did his rookie season, if not better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely was happier than I expected with how the offense performed, especially because the days before I was there, it was like, oh, defense dominated. Offense hasn't had a good day all week. And then Mac kind of popped off the first day we were there. And the second day, he looked pretty good. It was kind of back and forth between him and the defense. But I think that was more due to the pressure that they were getting in the O-line struggles. But yeah, it's good to see Mac staying late every day. Pretty much the last one to walk off the field, one of the first one to get on every single day. And starting to build some chemistry with these guys. Like you said, Juju and the tight ends and Devontae Parker. We know he had a year with him last year, but it's exciting to see Bill O'Brien put his touches on the offense and them start to learn it. It's still early in the process. Like they're learning a whole different offense than they had last year. And it might be similar to the one year one for Mac, but Juju's new. Devontae Parker hasn't been in that normal Patriots offense. So these guys got some stuff to learn. So it's going to take some time. There's no problem with that. But iron sharpens iron, and them going against this defense every day is only going to help them.
Yeah, for sure. So last position we kind of didn't really talk about, and then we'll wrap it up. Running backs, obviously you got Ramondre Stevenson. Kevin Harris has been taking more reps than Pierre Strong from what I've been hearing, and then Ty Montgomery has looked pretty good as kind of that third down pass catching role. The big question here, do you think the Patriots add another running back? Obviously, I don't think Dalvin Cook's going to be a New England Patriot. They did bring Ezekiel Elliott in for a workout and a visit and Leonard Fournette. So are you comfortable with the 4 running backs we have right now in Ramondre, Ty Montgomery, Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris, or do you think they need to bring in another one?
I would prefer if we brought in a guy like Zeke or Fournette or any of these veterans. I like Zeke. I think he'd be a good fit. I don't love that it's been a week since his visit and we haven't really heard anything. I don't know necessarily that. I don't know necessarily that that's a great sign that we haven't heard any news and he's not signed yet. I figured if he was going to come in, he would be here by now because camp is starting. You want to sign the guy, right? One thing that stood out to me was, and this is who Pierre Strong is. Like this is the type of player he is, but he's shifty. Like they were doing one-on-one tackle drills against linebackers, and he was shaking dudes out of their shoes. Like it was ridiculous. He was making them look like fools. And also when he was doing the ladder drills, he was just so quick. His footwork was incredibly quick compared to some of the other guys, even like Kevin Harris or even Ramondre. So he's certainly shifty. That stood out to me about Pierre Strong. That doesn't necessarily make you a great running back, but I just thought that was worthy of pointing out. That was one thing that I had noticed when I was watching the backs do some drills.
Yeah. I mean, he's the film review I did last year, and him coming out of college from South Dakota State. He's
explosive.
He's very elusive. He's very explosive. He makes people miss. So he's definitely brings a little different running back style and personality than Kevin Harris does, and I think they both have a role in their own like that. So last thing, too, specialists. You were there. You said that Bryce Behringer, the punter from Michigan State, was hitting some nukes. I heard that he hit multiple 60-plus yarders with 5+ second hang time. Those are crazy good punts. And then Chad Ryland has a killer leg. He just hasn't been hitting as much as Nick Folk. But, I mean, Nick Folk, we all know he's going to be Mr. Consistent, but he's not going to hit many outside of 45 maybe, especially with what his leg's looking like right now.
Yeah, and especially it's tough if you got to have the punter take kickoff responsibilities, and I don't know. It's just I want the kicker to I want to know that when the kicker goes out there, he's going to make them. But I certainly like the potential we've seen out of the rookie's leg. I think when I was there, he was mostly kicking short ones, and I think he hit the post once. But other than that, he was making them and looking pretty good. But then I guess during the in stadium on Friday, the night one, I guess he was missing some from 40 plus. But it looks like he's got quite the leg. And Behringer he's got a nuke on that leg. Like it's impressive. And he also did surprisingly well they were doing a drill where they were trying to pin him inside the 10, and it looked like he was pinning him inside the 5-10 yard line on a semi-regular basis. So it looked like he was doing pretty good in that drill, which is always good to see. We know Bill, when our offense is horrible, Bill loves to throw the punter out there and hope for the field position game to play out in our favor. So it's always good to have a guy who can really switch the field and pin the other team inside the 5-10 yard line.
Yeah, MA Football Guy says that we need way better special teams than last year. It was very, very odd to see how bad the Patriots special teams was, and it was in all aspects. We had bad punting where we're kicking 20-yard net punts and getting stuff blocked, and then the Buffalo game where they had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns, and you're sitting there like, I mean, Nick Folk's getting it 6 yards. He's not even getting it within 5 yards of the end zone, and Naeem Hines is taking it out. It will be very refreshing to see the Patriots get back on and in special teams that the way that they are known to have it. And I do like Joe Judge coming back on the special teams role. I don't think he should be anywhere else other than that, but our special teams was the best when Joe Judge was here, and he's back in that role. So I'm excited to see, how that changes things, and with the additions of Behringer and Ryland, how good the special teams gets back to and how good they look. So anything else on the special teams front though?
I think that's pretty much it. I think that's about all I got. Like just Marcus Jones and Demario Douglas both look good in the punt and kicking game. So that was good to see. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got. Mac looked good in my eyes. He made some really, really nice throws. Zappe he looked okay. It seemed like Zappe didn't see the field as well as Mac did, especially on that pick to Duggar. He just kind of didn't see him coming from the other direction and threw it right to him in the end zone. So I thought Mac looked better. He made some really nice throws. He was just, his accuracy was impressive. But it's also when you see this in person, I think you're a little more impressed anyways, just because it's like, if I tried to throw that, it wouldn't be in the same spot that Mac had it. So, you kind of can really tell the difference between pro athletes and other normal people. So, but I thought they looked pretty good. It was fun. It was fun to go out there. And like I said at the beginning, I highly recommend if you guys get the opportunity. It's free. So if you guys have time to go down there and you're somewhere in the area within a few hours of a drive, it's well worth it.
Yeah, I would love to go. I think it would be a riot to go and
waiting
watch
for?
Patriots football. Well,
Was it like a 10-hour, 20-hour drive?
I mean, it's like a 5.5-hour flight, so it's probably like a 4-day drive for me.
Okay.
I'll leave today and miss the whole open practices and stuff.
Yeah.
So. But no, it's exciting, and we'll be back. We have some content, planned and stuff, more lives. We'll do a 53-man roster prediction, stat predictions, preseason awards for the Patriots, schedule predictions. We're, kind of holding that off just to see, if, knock on wood, hopefully no injury happens, in the preseason, but that will change, predictions and stuff. But we got those coming up. We'll try to get on, maybe Saturday or maybe again Friday for the preseason game 1 review and, recap and reactions to that and stuff. But make sure you guys are liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel and both of our Instagrams. They're on the screen right here next to our name, so you guys can stay up to date whenever we go live. And then make sure you use code PATSDRIVE at checkout on Underdog Fantasy so you guys can win some money and support this channel. But anything else, Cole, before we get out of here?
No, that should do it. Thank you guys for hanging out. We know it's been a while, but football is getting back into the swing of things. So we'll be back, like Jay said, with some more consistent content for you guys. So Carlos, MA Football, Boston Headline, Ashton, all the regulars. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and all the new people. Like Jay said, subscribe if you're new. A lot of you guys who watch this aren't subscribed, so it's free. Just hit the button. It helps our channel out, helps us grow and get to more people if you enjoy our content. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.